Political analyst and White House correspondent for the GRIO, April Ryan, and CNN political commentator and Republican strategist, Alice Stewart. Alice, let me start with you first. Trump cost Republicans the House, the Senate, the White House. He incited an insurrection. He was impeached twice. He's more than willing to trash members of his own party. We heard how Boehner feels about it. Why are Republicans still flocking to Mar-a-Lago to hear him speak?
There's several reasons for that, Jim. And if you just look on the surface, three big standouts for this past weekend. Certainly with regard to with fundraising, with regard to sort of a family reunion, but also a way to build the base. But Jim, the underlying current that we're seeing here is the new reality. And it's not the reality show of The Apprentice. It is the fear factor. Fear by many that they will get on the wrong side of Trump, fear that they will suffer in fundraising if they do so, and fear that the president will come out and speak out against them. And some also fear they could lose their position within the party. So that's a big factor because the president, with all the faults, he does have strong support from the base. And Republicans understand the goal to winning moving forward is to keep that base on board, but also to reel in the people that we lost in this last election.
Yeah, but he still sounds like the biggest loser, April. And Trump aide Jason Miller told the New York Times, quote, all roads lead to Mar-a-Lago. And to that point, the campaign arm of House Republicans is using an aggressive tactic. This is just astounding to push online donors toward committing to monthly contributions, saying online, this is just incredible. It says right here, we need to know we haven't lost you to the radical left. If you uncheck this box, this is what it says on screen, we will have to tell Trump you're a defector and sided with the Democrats. In other words, if you don't let them take the same amount of money out of your bank account every month, you're being disloyal to the president. I mean, what do you make of that?
It's a bully tactic, and it's illegal, as we know. And as we've seen, that was wrong. And he has to get back that money. But at the end of the day, Jim, people are afraid of the bully former president. I mean, you even see that Sylvester Stallone went to Mar-a-Lago. People are afraid to be on the wrong side of him because he will call them out. What did he do yesterday? He called Mitch McConnell an SOB. That's not the first time we've heard him call someone SOB. Remember when he was president, he called those who took the knee about police brutality, deadly police brutality. He called them, who happened to be black NFL players, sons of bitches. That's not the first time. He is a bully. And then we also know that Mike Pence will not be on the ticket if he does run again for president. You know, he called him failed. So at the end of the day, this man, this former president, still has power because what he says causes the base to stir up against those who he is against. So that's why you're seeing people flock to Mar-a-Lago. That's why you're seeing people give money, even if it's illegally.
Alice, former House Speaker John Boehner, he is not a member of the Trump base. He is saying in this new book, even Ronald Reagan could not get elected in today's Republican Party. Do you agree with that?
In some degrees, yes. And as you had a great interview with Harry Reid yesterday, and Harry said one thing about John Boehner, he calls it like it is. He doesn't hold any punches, and he says exactly what's on his mind. And John Boehner, in some degrees, is right. The current face of the Republican Party is not emblematic of the Republican Party of years old, but that is just what we're seeing in terms of tone and tenor. I truly believe the heart and soul of the Republican Party is the way it was back in the Ronald Reagan era. It is about limited government. It is about free market capitalism, strong on immigration, religion, pro-life, Second Amendment. And that's what we need to get back to, is focus more on the policies and get away from the personalities, because that is the brash, abrasive personality that we've had over the last 5 years that cost us the House, the Senate, and the White House. So if we can focus more on the policies and get back to the Ronald Reagan era, that is a winning formula moving forward.
Yeah, in April, I spoke to Harry Reid, as Alice just mentioned, and here's what he told me about the Republican Party's embrace of Trump. Let's listen. Would you like to see the Republican Party continue to embrace Donald Trump and in the way that they are right now? Would that be good for the Democrats? Were they to continue to do that?
Yes.
Can you expand on that?
Well, what is going on with the Republican Party now is not the Republican Party that was defined over the many years as a party of conservative thought, fiscal integrity. So I think that the Republican Party needs to understand where they are, and I think they're being where they are is only good for Democrats.
What do you think? Is he right?
He's absolutely right. Donald Trump, when he was president and after his presidency, is rallying the Democrats to go to the polls. And Democrats are winning because of Donald Trump. And that's why you're seeing all of these anti-voting rights efforts and restrictive efforts. But I will go back to something that Alice said. Alice said, you know, right now the party is the party of Reagan. Maybe to an extent, but it's also a party that's an anti-Browning party. This is a party that does not like the Browning of America. This is a party that is cheating at the polls. This is a party that is doing anything by any means necessary to continue to try to win. So there are a lot of underhanded tactics that we see that have been placed in courtrooms, that have been placed in the court of public opinion as it relates to the Republican Party and their efforts to try to get anything pushed through that they want. So the Democrats are rallying, they're getting more people. You got people like Stacey Abrams and more that are bringing more people to the fold to fight against this at the polls.
Alice, is April right? Is this a Republican Party that's against the Browning of America? You're from Georgia. They had this voter legislation that was just passed recently. What do you make of what April just said?
Now, I disagree with that strongly. The Republican Party certainly has lost crucial races in the last several years, but the key is, it's important to keep in mind, Donald Trump lost, period. No questions about that. But he also received 8 million more votes than he did back in 2016. So we are having more Republicans coming to the table. But the key is to keep them on board and bring in the people that we lost. I commend Stacey Abrams 100% for the work that she did with her and people like LaTosha Brown rallying voters in Georgia. They won 2 more Senate seats, and hats off to them for the good work they did. But I see that more as their strong efforts and Democrats coming out in the state of Georgia, as opposed to Republicans who are sitting at home for any other reason than the fact that they didn't like the way that President Trump handled the election. They didn't like the fact he questioned the certification of the election. And they certainly did not like the way that he treated some of the constitutional officers in the state of Georgia. So that was a big factor in why Republicans didn't come out more than anything, more as the tone and tenor of this presidency was the biggest factor.
All right, April Ryan.
What about Texas? What about Texas? The effort to suppress the black vote in Houston. So let's go there.
All right. Well, you know what, ladies, we're going to have to leave it at that. But April and Alice, I think this is just a preview of coming attractions. We're going to have you both back to talk about this. And next time, you know, you're a little nice to one another on this one. Next time, maybe we can sharpen the differences a little bit. We'll have you back and talk some more about all these issues. April and Alice, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. See ya. Testimony in the trial of Derek Chauvin moves into its 3rd week tomorrow. The defense will likely